The purpose of our lives is to be happy. And what better way to achieve this happiness than to be healthy? And again, what better way to achieve health than through our food? Do you believe that what you eat and how it is prepared can affect your health? Okay, let's find out. Today's topic is the benefits of cooked food. Why must we cook our food? Why not we go to a place of convenience and pick up something to eat because of our busy schedules and all? But remember, if you're too busy for your health, you will lose it. And in this program today, your billion-dollar body, we are here to make sure you don't lose your health. Hello, guys. Once again, I am Dr. Dolly, and you're welcome to the Billion-Dollar Body Show. And I'm in Victoria Island, Lagos, and this program is proudly sponsored by Salad Master. Like we always say, they are the makers of the best cookware in the world. And in a different studio today is our amiable dietitian, Folashade. And also with me today in our London studio is the regional coordinator of Excel Region, Salad Master, Mr. Tony Bello.
Hello, Dr. Dolly. Good
So,
evening. How are you today?
hi, nice to see you.
Yes, thank you for having me today. Hello, our viewers. Welcome to today's, billion dollar body show. We are here to give you
Yeah,
more from from what we gave yesterday, and so thank you for joining us today again.
all right.
Hello, Dr. Dolly and Fola Shade. Once again, we meet again, yeah, on
Yeah,
our Your Billion-Dollar Body Show. How are you doing, Dr. Dolly?
I'm great over here. Nice to be here once again.
Fantastic. You're looking very bright and healthy today. And I must say, Fola Shade, how are you doing today?
I'm very good, thank you.
You too. You're looking bright. You know what? I think I need to come back to Nigeria. The smiles. Is so much going on in Nigeria. So, guys, again, another show today with our your billion-dollar body, and also the fact that we are in the tail end of the Diabetes Awareness Month. And to be honest with you, a lot of people have said the show has been very useful for them to be able to look at how they can help others that are suffering from diabetes, and also those on the borderline have been able to identify early. So I'm looking forward to more information from you, Dr. Dolly, and also
Okay.
you, Shadi. And
All right.
guess what? I have a lot of questions for you today because my audience is screaming. They're saying, look, Dr. Dolly, we want some answers, and Paula Shelley, we want some answers. And obviously, I cannot leave Dr. Dolly and Paula Shelley without mentioning our sponsors, Salad Master, the Excel region in Nigeria. Thank you very much, Salad Master. So I'm just gonna come off the camera for now, and I think we're gonna pass over to Dr. Dolly to start the show. Yeah. Thank you, Dr.
Okay.
Dolly.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tony. Okay. Welcome back, viewers. Now, before we dive into what we have today, which is the benefits of cooked food, I'd like to do a little recap of what we did yesterday. Now, yesterday, we had a robust talk on the dangers of processed food. And I'll do a little summary for that for those of you who were not privileged to listen in on the program. Now, processed food can also be called pre-prepared foods or convenient foods. They are food that you just pick off the shelf immediately and eat. Grab and go. That is basically what it is. Now, anytime we cook food, anytime we fry, even freeze food, they are undergoing procession. Now, there are some foods we call ultra processed or heavily processed food that include unhealthy levels of added sugar, salt, and fats. And these things, they lack nutritional value, and contain high amounts of calories. They might make the food better, but they can also lead us to some health issues like diabetes, secondly, obesity, third, heart diseases, hypertension, and last but not the least, it's cancers. So this was what we did today, and we went ahead to say that food that we should avoid are ready-made foods because they have in them high contents of processed ingredients in them to make them appetizing for you to come back and buy again. Another one is our baked foods. Those are the foods to avoid. Processed meats, and to mention but a few. Now, we can't wait to go into what we have today because there are a whole lot. The benefits of cooked food. I'm going straight into it. Number one benefit of cooked food, first off, is that it is nutrient loaded. Real food or cooked food, they are minimally processed, and if you add your vegetables and add your fruits to it, you get loads and loads of unprocessed animal and plant foods that provide the body with vitamins and minerals for optimal health. Another benefit is that it is heart healthy. Your heart benefits when you cook your food at home because you know what you're adding to the food. You will stay away from saturated oil, saturated fat, trans fat that leads to heart being unhealthy. Now, when you do real food is packaged with amounts of antioxidants and minerals that is just adequate for your heart health. Magnesium also is contained in very big quantities in real food. And like I said, magnesium is fantastic for the health of the heart. Another benefit is that it controls the blood sugar. When your food is made in the house, your blood sugar is better controlled, whether you are a diabetic patient or not. Now, let's hear this. People who eat real food experience 26% reduction in blood sugar level. That's a proven fact. 26% reduction is a whole lot. According to the International Diabetes Federation, more than 400 million people are affected by diabetes worldwide. And the number is still expected to rise to 600 million in the next 25 years. That is pretty alarming. That prediction is really alarming. We are here now to let you know that you can avoid being part of the statistics. You can avoid being among this 200 million increase in the next 25 years. How do you do it? By taking care of your health now. There's a wise saying that says that the best time to start is right now and right here. So we're still on the benefits of cooked food. Meanwhile, before we continue, I'd like to go over to our dietitian to let her give us her inputs on today's topic.
Hi, Dr. Dolly. Thank you so
Hi.
much. Yes, thank you. And so the subject is, the statistics is really, really scary. Seeing the number of people down with diabetes, and many people don't even know. Those are the ones that know. Some people don't even know they have diabetes. Some people don't even know that they have, high blood glucose, the one we refer to as pre-diabetes. And so it's very scary. And if you look at that same statistics from the International Diabetes Federation, more of the people, about two-thirds of those people who have this diabetes are in low and middle income country. And so Nigeria is part of that country, and most of
You're
the
right.
African countries are also, also there. So we cannot just hold our arms and not, educate people on how they need to ensure that they can use their diet to, prevent or manage diabetes very well. And I'm glad that yesterday we went for that to tell people that Of course, we have foods that most of the foods that we eat are processed, but then we have those that are minimally processed, which are very still healthy. That was when I could remember, sharing the example of the frozen vegetables that you just get to cut and then package and store in the freezer. The your whole grains. Maybe you have gone ahead to mill the grains, for example, corn, and then you have gone ahead to mill the corn and then you store that without taking out the shaft. That is still whole food, and so that has been minimally processed. But we also went ahead to talk about those highly processed and ultra processed food also, and those are the ones that poses more danger to your health. They contain a lot of saturated fat, trans fat, sodium, added sugar. All these have affect the health so much. And so the best is that, just like you said, we need to encourage people to invest, in their diet, encourage them to eat well so that they can get to protect their $1 billion body. You see, this body is even worth more than billions, but just for people to understand, we need to do more, to help them learn more on how they can use food as a medicine to protect their health.
Okay, thank you, Falashade. Now, back to the topic. Like what she said, she summarized what we did yesterday and still highlighted the points that highly processed foods are very, very dangerous to health. In other words, if you flip it the other way around, it goes to say that cooked food is the best option for every one of us because all of us want to achieve this optimal health. Now, another benefit of cooked food is that they contain high fiber. What are the foods that contain fiber? You have something like your avocado, your chia seeds, flax seeds, and blackberry fruits. Those of them, they contain, these are the foreign foods that contain fiber. Now, bringing it home to us, you have yam contains fiber. Vegetables also contain fiber. There are a whole lot of foods, especially foods that are not processed, that still have their fibers intact. And why must the body need fiber? In other words, the function of fiber. First of all, it boosts digestion. When you have fiber in you, your digestion is boosted. And then the metabolic health of the individual is also optimal. The last but not the least function of fiber is that it increases the feeling of fullness. After eating your food, you feel full. And before you get hungry again, it takes a while. Unlike unprocessed food, in which the fibers in them have been removed and additives, sweeteners has been added into the processed food. That is why people who take so much processed food, they don't have that feeling of fulfillment after eating or the feeling of fullness after eating. So they keep going for more. Now, if you eat cooked food, it also helps you in your weight loss program. So if we concentrate more on eating cooked food, the cases of obesity in our society will also be reduced. Those are the benefits of cooked food. Another beautiful one that I like, another beautiful benefit is for glossy and shiny skin. I mean, cooked food nourishes the skin and helps protect it. Your skin is the first thing people notice when they look at you. So you have to make it pop. Your skin needs to pop. And no better way to do this than to eat cooked food. When you cook your vegetable at home, you saute it in a way that the vegetable isn't dead. You don't kill all the vitamins before you take it in. But you cannot say that for the grab and go foods we get outside because you don't know how they prepare their food. You don't even know whether the person preparing the food has knowledge of how to prepare vegetables in order for them to retain its nutrients. Another one that cooked food does that it prevents acne on the skin, on the faces. First thing we do for patients who present with acne is to ask them what kind of food they take. Do you have time to cook for yourself? Do you eat outside or does someone cook for you? These are some of the histories you have to get from the patient in order for you to have a comprehensive history and devise a way of managing the acne. Another one also is that when you eat cooked food, it slows down wrinkling of the skin. For women who want to also be appear every year young, then cooked food is the way because wrinkling of the skin is reduced and the skin retains its elasticity when you eat cooked food. Another one now, foods that you can get that will do this very well is if you eat more vegetables, like I said before, fish also can help, beans, olive oil, all of these things when taken in a cooked way and the way and manner you cook the food also goes a long way and the cookware you use to cook it also goes a long way and such a good thing we this program your $1 billion body is sponsored by one and only salad master who makes the best cookware in the world that retains 63% of the nutrition in your food. You see? So this is the one-stop shop for everything healthy. So I advise in this festive period, you get a cookware by Salad Master. It will go a long way in keeping you healthy and keeping your skin glossy. Now, before we continue, because we have a whole lot of things, we need to go to our London studio and bring Mr. Tony on board because he has lots and lots of questions that viewers have asked us from previous episodes. Mr. Tony,
Hi, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
I'm great.
We're enjoying the show here. We're enjoying the show here. Thank you very much. Just to say, a lot of people now, some people are saying, okay, I'm diabetic, or they're diabetic. Not I am diabetic. They're diabetic, and they just want to know, what types of foods or what can they do to improve their condition right now, and also, just briefly explain firstly, because people say that they're diabetic, but briefly explain the different types of diabetics there are, so that people know which category we're talking about here.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tony. Fine. So, some of our diabetic viewers are concerned. They want to know how many types of diabetes we have. Well, we have extensively dealt with diabetes on this program, but for the benefit of those who ask the questions, we are going through it again. We have two types of diabetes. We have type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Type 1 is the one that originates or starts during childhood and adolescence. They are usually born with it because they have a gene that is not good or that has been mutated that they inherited from one or both parents. And that's why they come down with it. And usually, the mode of treatment or management is insulin administration because this group of people they do not produce insulin from their pancreas at all. Good. The second group is diabetes type 2. Type 2 patients are not born with diabetes. Usually, the common age of manifestation is usually in adulthood, middle age. You have been okay for a long time, and then all of a sudden, you go to hospital because you have symptoms of maybe you are peeing too much, drinking water too much, and you're eating too much. You go to the hospital and you're diagnosed with diabetes type 2. Now, that is the major difference. The major difference here is that diabetes type 2 patients, they do produce insulin, but in a lesser degree. The insulin they produce is not enough to, to accomplish the work that it has to do. So they need help. They need the insulin to be supplemented. Now, you don't give them insulin as a management model. No. What you do is you do lifestyle modification for them. First off, you like to know what they have been eating. Now, the kind of food that triggers diabetes is carbohydrate. especially high index carbohydrates. Now, someone who has diabetes will do so well if they consume potatoes, Irish potato, sweet potato, that is fantastic for them. If they consume even yam, but you cook it in a salad master cooking device, specially prepared or manufactured to distarch the yam while you're cooking it. So that by the time the yam is done, the only thing that is in the yam is just nutrient. The starch is all gone, and that way it's healthy. And another thing for diabetes type 2 patients, who are our main focus, is that portion control is of utmost importance. Any type of carbohydrate that is low index, that is good for you, if it is recommended, you still need to take it in appropriate proportion. Because if you say, okay, my doctor said I should eat unripe plantain, and you go and have a basket full of unripe plantain, you are not doing yourself good, because you will still increase the blood sugar. So portion control is of utmost importance to diabetics. Another important factor, or very imperial factor, is they should also be active. You need exercise, 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 because one of the things that causes type 2 is inactivity. So once you're diagnosed, one of the lifestyle modifications every health personnel must advocate is activity. Increase your level of activity. If you cannot jump, please do run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, by all means, crawl. But please get off the couch and get moving. That is it. And then the lesser lifestyle modifications that will also be looked into is alcohol. If you were drinking alcohol before the diagnosis, please eliminate it completely. Cigarette smoking is a no-go area. Taking of recreational drugs like cocaine and all of that, it should also be eliminated. So it's basically lifestyle modification. And if the person is religiously carrying out this advice, over time, the person will see a massive difference in the blood sugar. So I hope I did justice to the question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. I'm just going to bring in Fola Shadi, our dietitian, because there are some questions that probably the two of you, and maybe Fola Shadi might want to add some things to that. So, Fola
Okay.
Shadi,
Hello.
hi. Do you want to just add a few things, like Dr. Dolly mentioned on
Yes,
that?
yes, I would. And so, Dr. Dolly, thank you so much for all that you've gone ahead to say. And so, I also want to encourage people to one of the easy ways to make it easy. One of the easy ways for diabetes patient is that, or people with diabetes, is that they also need to learn how. Okay, so looking at vegetables, for example, we have two types of vegetables. We have the non-starchy vegetables, and we also have the starchy vegetables, right? And so for the starchy vegetables, they need to pay attention to the portion control, the size, the portion control. It's very, very important. I like that Dr. Dolly mentioned that. And then for the non-starchy vegetables, those are the ones that have less carbohydrate in them. We're talking about the leafy greens. We're talking about the leafy greens, the cucumber, the cabbage, the broccoli, the spinach. All these are very low in carbohydrate, so they can get to increase the quantity of that in their meals. While the ones that are starchy, the yam, the plantain, the corn, the lentils, the peas, they need to consume those in less in quantified portion, depending on what their activity level is, what calorie prescription they have. And so, I mentioned yesterday, if you could remember, Mr. Tony, that it is, you don't just tell somebody go and reduce this amount of size. It has to be based on what their activity level is and other conditions that they have with the diabetes. So, for example, if somebody is obese and has diabetes, that person would also need to lose some weight. So that would be based on what calorie prescription that would be given to such person. But for someone who isn't obese, but then just have diabetes, the calorie prescription may be different from what I would, ask someone who is obese to do. So all these are things that need to come into consideration to help, diabetes patients get the best out of their diet.
Great, great. Dr. Dolly, I have a question for you. I don't know whether you can help us on this question.
Okay.
The question is, at what point does type 2 diabetes needs insulin? Someone with type 2 diabetes, at what point do they need insulin?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Tony, for that question. Yes, it's true. Diabetes type 2, the main management, like I pointed out, is lifestyle modification in diet and exercise. But there is a point that you will reach. You now say, the doctor will now say, fine, we need to introduce insulin. At those conditions are where the blood sugar, after you have implemented the diet and the exercise regimen for the patient, and place the patient on oral hypoglycemic agents, and still the blood sugar remains consistently high. When you look at things like that, you look at the patients and you say, are you sure you're undergoing all this regimen? They said yes. And the blood sugar is shooting up. What you need to do, you need to step down the blood sugar by the use of insulin. And if such thing happens again, then you know that the person has underlying diseases that hasn't already been given attention to. Like one disease that can cause blood sugar to be persistently high, even with adequate management, is one, if the patient has obstructive sleep apnea, it affects them a whole lot and makes the blood sugar level to be stubbornly high no matter what you do. So it is only at this point that you can introduce insulin to the patient and bring it down. And after you bring it down, you can still continue with the oral medications. That's the oral hypoglycemics that the patient is initially prescribed for the patient. But if it still remains, like you taper the person off insulin and it goes up again, then the person has no choice but to remain getting the insulin.
So, if I'm right, what you're saying is, if all the normal medical advice and also the diet and also the exercise still does not work, and they find that their blood glucose or their blood sugar level is still high, yeah,
Yes.
that's when or the blood, that's when
It's
they need
high.
to bring
Yes.
insulin. Is
That's
that right?
when you introduce insulin. Yes,
Right.
that's it.
Okay. Maybe at this point here, so does that mean then it's important for them to have like a diet plan? Because you mentioned that if the diet doesn't work,
Yes.
so that's the work of a dietitian now, is it?
Of course, of course.
Great. So,
Yes.
so, so I want to just go follow Shadi. What do you have to say about this? Um, w- why would this happen in terms of if your dietitian has been assigned to somebody, or if that person is supposed to follow a diet? How does this happen?
Okay, thank you. And so one of the reasons why even when a person with diabetes has the diet plan, number one is that some people too do not follow as prescribed. I remember that the very first section we had about diabetes, Dr. Dolly talked about, how it affects mental state also. And so at certain times, people also get tired. They have to pay attention to the diet. They have to use different medications. And so when they don't even get people around them to be very supportive, you find out that they feel, sometimes depressed and don't just want to do anything again. And so at some of those times, you find out that people don't pay attention to the diet plan they have. And also the cooking method also matters. So if I have gone ahead to tell someone that, okay, you need to take this amount of yam, for example, and then the way the person has gone ahead to cook the yam in a way, or maybe the size of the yam the person has decided to take is more than what has been apportioned. That means such person has taken in more carbohydrate than what he or she should take at a particular sitting. So that can also get to affect how the body gets to use the sugar in the body. We also have cases where people drink so you've told people, okay, this is what you should do, but maybe they found themselves in a place where they couldn't get the things they need, and so at such time they just take in what is available to them. And so in such situation too, the person may also consume more, even through drinking. A lot of people drink their calories, so through drinking you find out that some people even take in more than what they should, what their body needs. And we are talking about the highly processed food. Sometimes people consume this highly processed food, and highly processed food are also very high in carbohydrate. And so when people eat it without, paying attention, uh, it happens. And as much as diabetes is not a death sentence, we want people to enjoy their life anytime. We don't want, you can get to enjoy, you can get to celebrate with your family, but then within what is allowed, so that you don't go out of it. Because the focus here is that we want to protect your life. We want to ensure that the drugs, the foods you are eating, all together work to prevent complication and also help you regulate your blood sugar level. So this is some of the things that can go ahead to raise blood sugar level even when such person is on a strict diet plan.
Okay, so thank you. I think we're getting some feedback from the studio, but thank you very much for that. So yeah, the other thing, there's a question I have for you, Dr. Dolly, from somebody that probably has diabetes. He says, what is a good number? What is a good number? I don't know whether that's a medical term. It says here, what
What is
is a good number for type 2 diabetes?
what is a good number?
Yeah, so I don't know whether that means that maybe they're taking sugar level tests
Okay,
or
yes, I know
does
what
that
I know what he
mhm,
means. He mean
yeah.
the question is supposed to be, what is the good value that the blood sugar would be for it to be healthy for a diabetic patient?
Aha,
Okay,
okay, okay.
okay, fine. So now, for random blood check for a person who has diabetes, okay, let's start by what is random. Random blood sugar is in the morning. You woke up in the morning and you didn't plan to go for your diabetes for blood sugar testing, but you maybe happen to pass along where they are doing it, and you have eaten probably breakfast or even lunch. You just walk in. So we do random sugar check for you. It should be nothing greater than 11.1 millimoles per DL. That is for random. Now, when for fasting, fasting is you have not eaten anything in the last 10 hours. Your last meal must have been the previous night, at least. Nothing less than, nothing greater than 10. You don't eat your dinner beyond 10 p.m. Now, when the person has fasted overnight and come in the morning without having any breakfast, and you check for the blood sugar, the person's blood sugar optimally should be in the range of 4.6 to maybe 6.4. That is milligram per DL. Milligram per DL. That is it. So those are the values in which, if you're maintaining your blood sugar at this level, or you use it as a benchmark for judging, if your random is greater than 11.1, you know that something is wrong. You check your diet, do a 24-hour dietary recall to recall what you have eaten, whether you've deviated from your diet. That is it. So those are the numbers. For fasting,
Great.
blood sugar 4.6 to 6.4 milligram per DL, and for random 11.1 milligram per DL. Those are the
Perfect.
optimal values.
Wow. Wow. You know, obviously, I didn't know that there were so many numbers in diabetes, but obviously, I suppose if you're
Yes,
diabetic,
there is.
you have to check them to see what you need to do next, and that's probably why you
Yes.
have if your sugar level is too high, you know it's too high by the measurements. Am I right?
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
Great,
right.
great, great. And
It
I've
is
got
even
one more
advised
question.
that they. Okay.
I've got one more question before we go on a break.
Okay.
We've got the break's only for about 1 minute or 2 minutes, and this one's for Folashade. Is banana good for diabetics? Because
Yes.
I love banana. I love banana, but I'm not diabetic. But one thing I wish, if I, God forbid, I came diabetic, is banana. Is banana good for diabetics? That's what somebody's asking. And why? And why?
Yes.
And
So,
why?
Doctor. Yeah, yes. So, Doctor, Mr. Tony, you can eat banana when you if you're diabetic. But like I mentioned, portion control is very, very key. And so you may not be able to do more than a finger or two if you're going to eat a snack. So it has to be well, portion controlled. So usually a lot of people can sit down. I'm sure someone like you, if you like bananas a lot, you may finish a bunch of bananas that it's sitting, maybe about 10 fingers. And if you
Yeah.
have diabetes, you cannot do bananas that way. You cannot do bananas that because bananas are also calorie dense and they contain carbs also. Although it's healthy. We said it's fruit, but it has to be consumed in quantified portion. So you can't do more than one or two fingers. You know, you can't do 10
Okay.
fingers
Okay.
at a time, 5 fingers at a
Wala
time.
shade. Wala shade. Wala shade. And Dr. Don, we asked one question. Is banana good
Okay.
for diabetics? Is it yes or no?
Yes, I said yes, you can eat.
Fantastic.
You can
All
eat,
you
but it has to be
so
in
all you're saying
controlled
is
portion.
eat in moderation.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
And is it, they say something about low glycemic index, high glycemic index. Where does it fit into all this stuff?
So
Banana.
bananas, yes, it has about 100 grams of banana contains about 223 grams of carbohydrate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes. So
So is it low glycemic index?
yes.
Or yeah, it's low. Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Dolly, do you want to say anything on this note before we go on a break?
Oh yeah. Like you, I'm also a lover of bananas. But like she said, you have to have bananas, but you have to control the portion. You can have, depending on the size of the banana, you can decide if it's a very big one, you can have half of it in a day. I think that will suffice. If it's small banana, you can have the whole of it in a day. The thing is, don't overdo it. You can have what you love in diabetics, but have your portion control in sight when you eat what you love.
Great.
Yeah.
Well,
And
thank
so,
you very.
Mr. Tony, sorry before we go, I just want to also mention that the 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 ripeness of the banana is also very important. So, overripe bananas they tend to have more sugars, and so that can easily raise compared to those that are not so ripe. So that's also a factor to consider when eating bananas. Yes.
Okay. Well, it's obviously somebody asked this question who likes bananas. And what you're trying to say is obviously it's good. It's low glycemic index. So that's good. But
Yeah,
you have to eat in moderation. Am I right?
that's
And
right.
it mustn't be
Preferably don't
overripe.
do
It
overripe.
mustn't be
Yes.
overripe because I
Yeah.
take it overripe, there's too much sugar in there. Is that right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right. So what we'll do is thank you very much, Folashade. Thank you very much, Dr. Dolly. We're just going to go on a short break, and we'll come back to Dr. Dolly's carrying on with the presentation on the dangers of processed food for diabetics. And the next break is not even an advert break. It's just to show you the link and why Salad Master is sponsoring a program like this with Dr. Dolly and your billion dollar body, because it's very important for Salad Master. And we're just going to show you a short video of the relationship we have with Diabetes UK. So I'm just going to, so thank you. We'll be back very soon.
Okay.
More than 12 million people in the UK are at increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. But it's estimated that more than half of all cases could be prevented or delayed. Salad Master has a 70-year history in cookware innovation and is working in partnership with Diabetes UK to raise awareness of type 2 diabetes. Mariana Hotter reports on Salad Master's mission to inspire people to eat better, live better, and achieve the life they desire.
Lunch is being prepared at the Salad Master kitchen. On the menu, fresh veg and stovetop soda bread. It's a simple but effective demonstration of just how easy good food can be.
It started with our food processor, which is why we were called Salad Master. It was the master of salads, but then we grew that into a specialist cookware range. And, you know, our mission is to inspire people to eat better, and live the life they desire.
What's the principle, Io, behind the Salad Master system?
Well, the principle is that we cook at 86 degrees centigrade, 187 Fahrenheit, and we cook in an airtight container with a medium to low heat. And what that does, it maximizes the nutrition in the food.
So no oil, no fats, no water or stock?
No. So you don't need to, because the food has got its own natural juices, if you think about it. So what we're doing is we're using the natural juices in the food to cook the food.
Diabetes is potentially the most devastating health crisis of our time. There are more than 4 million people in the UK living with type 2 diabetes and a further 12 million people at increased risk of developing the condition. The charity Diabetes UK also estimates that more than half of all cases of type 2 diabetes could be prevented or delayed. Raising awareness is crucial.
Welcome back to the studio. Now, back to our topic of today, the benefits of cooked foods. Cooked, good, homemade foods. Now, we dive straight into it. It does lower your triglycerides level. What are those? They are simply fats that we consume when we eat. Now, blood triglycerides levels are strongly influenced by food intake. So they tend to shoot up when sugar and refined carbs are consumed. So most naturally occurring foods are low in refined carbs. And when they are low in refined carbs, it lowers your triglycerides. And what does increased triglycerides cause in us? It causes blockage of the heart, of the vessels generally, especially those of the heart, giving rise to what we call myocardial infarctions and heart diseases. So with cooked food, like I mentioned before, it protects your heart health. Very important. Another reason is that it is also high in healthy fats. Unlike the trans fats and processed fats found in vegetable oils and spreads, most naturally occurring fats are healthy. Examples of those are olive oil. Olive oil is a great source of what we call oleic oil. It's a monosaturated fat that is very good for the heart. Yes, people think all fats are bad for the heart. No, this particular one, oleic oil, it is very good for heart health. Another one also is coconut oil. When you make your coconut oil in your house, you can use it to cook your food. And it is so healthy. Coconut oil are known to be medium chain fatty acids that burns fats and helps weight loss. Can you imagine? Coconut oil is the magic oil that Weight Watchers have been waiting for. So get yourself a home cooked meal made with coconut oil, I assure you, you will drop at least 0.5 kg to 9. Another healthy oil that you can find in cooked foods are omega-3 fatty acids. These omega-3 fatty acids are also good for the heart, and apart from that, it also prevents the heart from inflammation. Inflammation, like we know, it is the underlying factor of most diseases that affect us, especially lifestyle diseases. So anything or any ingredient of food item that can lower inflammation, it's very good indeed. It's a keeper. And examples of food which can give us omega-3 when we cook with it are salmon, fish, and sardine, to mention but a few. Now, this is the best part of the benefits of cooked food, that it is an antioxidant tank. Do you know what a tank is? A tank is a container full of water. Now, in the case of cooked food, instead of the tank being filled with water, it is filled with antioxidants. Why does the body need antioxidants? Come and find out. Antioxidants are compounds that help fight free radicals from the body. And free radicals in itself are unstable molecules that can damage the body's cells. Free radicals come from byproducts of metabolic reactions in the body. Metabolic reactions simply are when you eat yam, the process of breaking down that yam from carbohydrates to glucose. That is metabolic procedure or metabolic reaction in the body. And while it is breaking down this huge carbohydrate compound into simple glucose sugar, there are some free radicals that comes out of these reactions. And if the food is cooked food and cooked well with good cooking cookware or cooking utensils, it gets antioxidants in it that will mop up these free radicals that, if left unattended, will go ahead and damage the body's cells and tissues. Again, processed foods adds free radicals into the body. Yes, processed food add these free radicals that good food on good homemade made foods mop up. Processed, easy to grab and go foods, they introduce these free radicals in the body. And if left unchecked over a long time, the person comes down with something like cancer. And people will be wondering, how did you get cancer? It doesn't run in our family. No, it doesn't run in the family, but bad lifestyle, bad eating habits introduced it to the person. So, however, cooked food are full of protective antioxidants. It is termed to be the antioxidant tank. So please, we should make our time to cook our foods. It is very good for the general health. Another benefit also is that they are good for the gut. And where is the gut? The gut is the stomach, the large and small intestine, generally the gastrointestinal system. Cooked food is better on this system. Why? Because it adds valuable microbiome into the digestive system. What are microbiomes? Microbiomes are beneficial bacteria that live in the digestive tract, and they feed this good bacteria feed on this food and then do the work of protecting the gut. Many real food are called prebiotics for these microbacteriums or good bacteria that exist in the gastrointestinal system. They are called prebiotics. These bacteria feed on these foods and thereby leaving the human body alone and not act as parasitic. Now, that will be harmful to the body. So, the foods now that are especially good for the gut or the digestive system are Garlic. Garlic is very good. It acts as prebiotics to gut bacteria. Almonds, and last but not the least, cocoa. So all the beverages that are made with cocoa, dark chocolates, they are actually perfect for guts. Now, we move over to the next point. Cooked food is excellent and also provides and promotes dental health. Are you surprised? When you're eating food made from your own kitchen, your teeth, the gum, and the oral cavity is promoted. Their health is promoted. How do we know? Now, healthy teeth is another benefit of real food. Yes. Why? Because the sugars and the refined carbohydrates from grab and go foods, from highly processed foods, encourage dental decay by feeding the plaques, causing bacteria, feeding the plaques in the mouth and causing bacteria to thrive. So, real food contains simple, natural occurring sugars that don't affect your dental health. Now, let's take for instance someone who likes taking fizzy drinks. Fizzy drinks are made up of one, sugar, and then acids in the soda. Now, the sugar and the acid in the soda, when combined, causes tooth decay. Green tea is another food that you can take that isn't made in your kitchen, but can go a long way in preventing and protecting your dental health. Another food also that increases the pH of the mouth and hardens the tooth enamel is the cheese. It prevents cavities from forming in your gum. So you see that cooking food from your kitchen, it's very, very, very beneficial to your health. It takes care of your dental health. Another one also, another benefit of cooking real food in our kitchen is that it prevents overeating and reduces sugar craving. Yes, it does. A high intake of processed food has been linked with overeating and overweight over time. Reasons being that they lack fiber, like I've mentioned previously. And fiber gives you the feeling of fullness, the feeling of fulfillment after you finished a meal. And this fiber is lacking in processed foods and in all of foods made with made processed food and ready-made food. Let's put it that way. It is lacking in fiber and thereby causes you to keep eating and eating and eating because you're craving for the fulfillment and the fullness that comes with feeding. And if you can't find it, the thing is that you keep eating until you are overweight, and from overweight you become obese. And like we previously discussed on this show, there are gamut complications of obesity. Again, real food does not harbor artificial sugars. So when you don't have sugars in you, you don't have flavorings and chemicals also contained in these artificial foods, you don't crave for sugar. And most of the hazardous side effects of these chemicals, sugars, and flavorings, you are protected from it when you're eating food cooked from your kitchen. So that is a very beautiful advantage of cooked food. At this juncture, I'd like Mr. Tony to come in and add one or two for our viewers. If I've spoken anything technical, he can help break it down for our viewers. Mr. Tony.
Wow. Well, we're getting some comments on coming from online. Someone says very educative and insightful, great speakers. I suppose they're talking about you, Dr. Dolly and Paula Shadow. Yeah, because I've never been refined. but
You are so far.
but what there was a question, just to get you the questions. One of the questions was, just see if I can find it. It's what is the? I think you've answered this question before. I'm not sure. What is the highest blood sugar level that is safe? The highest.
Okay. Yes, I've answered it before. For purposes of recap, for fasting blood sugar, it it is ranged to be between 4.6 to 6.4 milligram per DL. Now, for random blood sugar, the levels shouldn't be higher than 11.1 millimole per liter or milligram per DL.
Okay, good. And it says also, how can I lower my sugar level quickly?
What you can do to lower your sugar level quickly. Number one, get a dietitian. And once the diet plan is made, stick to it. Secondly, go get out of your couch and be active. Exercise, exercise, exercise. Exercise has been known to lower blood sugar levels to very, very safe margins. Another one, unhealthy lifestyles like drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, and all of that should be avoided. So, Olashade, do you have any suggestions on how they can lower their blood sugar right now, apart from the ones I've pointed out?
Yes, yes. So it's very important that they should their
So,
fruits
so
and
that we just,
vegetable intake while also reducing the portion. Hello,
okay, we
can
just
you hear me
lost a
now?
little bit of your reception there, but you can carry on.
Okay, so I said it's very important that they increase their fruit and vegetable intake while reducing the portion size of the starchy foods that they consume. Is very important. They should also ensure that they drink water. Yes, so many times people don't drink enough water to keep their body hydrated, and so it's very important. Sometimes when people think they feel hungry, it's not really hunger. It's sometimes it's thirst, and so ensuring that you drink enough water in a day, it's also very very important that you do so. And so another thing you can do is that those starchy foods that you're consuming, ensure that there are more of whole grains. For the grains that we have, there are more of wholesome foods rather than the highly processed foods. That way you get the benefit, the fiber is intact, and their nutrients and the vitamins and minerals are also intact. And so it's very very important that they do that also. And I think there's something I want to show Dr. Dr. Tony. I'm going to call you that doctor tonight.
Dr. Tony, wow,
Yes, yes,
wow. I take that as
yes,
an honorable doctor, yeah?
yes,
Not
yes.
medical. Okay, over to you.
So it's very important. So I remember there's this plate method I showed one while we were discussing diabetes, how people can get to ensure that their plate is half of their plate is more vegetables and fruits, while dividing the other half you have the starchy foods in one quarter of the plate, while the other part contains your protein. So that way you can also get to reduce your the amount of food that has carbs that you're consuming as someone who is living with diabetes. Yes.
Great, great. Thank you very much for that. I know we've only got a few more minutes to the show finishes, so I'm just going to quickly ask two more questions quickly. The first thing is a question that's normally asked is, can diabetes be reversed? Can it be? And doctor, let's hear it from you, Dr. Dolly.
Wow. That's a very tricky question. Medically speaking, diabetes cannot be reversed, but we have tested people that they modified their lifestyle permanently, and their diabetes has has gone. So that is what I can say. Medically speaking, we believe that diabetes, once it's there, it's a continuous disease. You just manage, you can't cure it.
Right, that's good. That's a very
Hello?
hello. Can you
Hello?
hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, so it's like we're having a little glitch in the network, or now both in our London network and
I
the
think we're having.
network with our
I think the
dietitian
network
Paula
problem we're
Shade.
having
So in the
Okay.
is in
meantime,
VI.
let's continue benefits
It's in
of
VI. The
cooked
network
food.
problem we're having is in VI. Just
The
to let you
Yeah.
benefits
understand.
of cooked food that I love is that it
Right.
is
I think
very delicious. When a food is made in your house, the amazing flavor of fresh unprocessed food is just undeniable. Okay, Folashade, you're back.
I think it was your.
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can. Yes.
can you hear me?
Okay, so we were continuing
So I think we
without you
lost
guys because
you.
we noticed
Yes.
that there was a glitch.
Okay. Okay, I
Okay,
think we are
so
just slightly
welcome
having
back. Welcome
a
back.
slight network problem, but
And please
we're
continue from where you stopped.
okay. Fine, no problem. So, Fola Shade, over to you. Is from a dietitian point of view, is diabetes reversible?
So, like Dr. Dolly said, based on science, the research that we have right now, diabetes is not, it's not. However, we have what we call remission, diabetes remission, and it's a situation whereby someone who has diabetes over a period of 1 year or more is able to regulate their blood sugar level such that it falls within the healthy range, normal range, over a period of 1 year, just with meals, without medications, no insulin, no oral drugs, just their diet. So if they're able to manage this over a period of 1 year and then more without the sugar, fluctuating, then we say that diabetes has gone into remission.
Okay,
Right. So that's,
okay,
yes. So it is that remission that people also oftentimes refer to as being reversed. Right.
okay,
Yes.
okay. So just in a nutshell, from a medical perspective,
Okay.
it cannot be reversed, and from a dietitian perspective, it can go into what did you say?
Remission.
Remission. Yeah.
Remission. Remission.
And I'm sure there's other points of view. I mean, I'll use the common sense point of view from my point of view, listening to the two of you. Um, I believe probably based on what you're saying, it depends on how bad diabetes is, or the diabetic is gone. Because if something, because from a common sense point of view, from my view, if you were not born with diabetes, yeah, and your lifestyle is the reason why you have type 2 diabetes, then surely a change of lifestyle, yeah, at the right time, not too late, a change of right lifestyle at the right time should put you back on track in your normal life. So that's just me. I don't know what your opinion is on that. But Dr. Dolly, do you want to just have a quick opinion because we're running out of time? We've run out of time now. Dr. Dolly, on your side?
Okay. Hi. Hi, people. How are you? Um,
Right.
Sorry about
Okay.
the glitch in the network. We're back now. Okay. So, to continue with what we have been saying,
Oh,
the
I'm not sure I
benefits
got the
of
question.
cooked food, they are
Don't worry, you
immense.
didn't get a question.
Now,
You didn't get a
another
question.
one.
You never got the question. Yeah. I think you were having a technical issue. Okay. So just to let you
That's right.
know, can you hear me? I think we're seeing you now moving, so it means that you're probably hearing us. And I think I put a question forward. Yeah. Can you hear me clearly? From our VI office, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can.
Fantastic. The question I put forward is what I put forward, and it looks like we've got a glitch again. What I put forward is that the doctor says, from a medical perspective, diabetes cannot be reversed. And the nutritionists say, from a dietitian says, from a dietitian point of view, diabetes can go into remission. Yeah. And I was saying from a common sense point of view, if we are not born with diabetes, yeah, and because of our lifestyle, we developed diabetes. If we catch it at the right time, from a common sense point of view, if we catch it at the right time, yeah, and we change our lifestyle, yeah, then surely we should be able to go back on track in terms of we should be able to reverse the diabetes. So I just wanted your point because I wanted your viewpoint on what I've just said, Dr. Dolly.
Yes. From what you've said, from common sense point of view, it makes a whole lot of sense. And I like the fact that you added if you catch it on time. That time frame is of utmost importance because if you come to now revert your lifestyle to from negative to positive, but the diabetes has already gone ahead to be complicated, you're having eye problems, you're having heart problems, your kidneys are starting to fail, your nerves are not responsive as it should be, you're developing diabetic foot ulcer. At this point, it is medicine after death, I would say.
Fantastic, thank you. And Folashade, on your
Yes.
side, what would you say?
So I also think it's the same, and that's why the best thing is that you don't allow it get to that stage. And Mr. Tony, I really want to say that one of the things we also do not pay attention to is that stage between the normal and diabetes, which is the pre-diabetes stage when you have the high blood sugar levels. And so at this point, when you're pre-diabetes, you can do everything that you can just to ensure that you go back to your blood sugar go back to the normal levels. At that point, unfortunately, many people don't even pay attention to it. So it's very key. Diabetes doesn't happen overnight. And so the best is that we, catch it when it's very early, like you said, either the pre-diabetes stage or the early diabetic stage. It's best that you, but once complication sets in, once the kidney is gone, once your sight has been affected, once your nerves are, have been affected, it can't be normal again. So sometimes the damages are irreversible. So it's very key that we, do. And I just want to, just for the benefit of our viewers, really, I just want to go over the numbers Dr. Dolly mentioned. So, again, so that they can have, and Dr. Dolly used there are two units, the millimoles and the millimoles per liter, and also the milligram per liters. So it's just to say that there are two different units that, when you check your blood sugar level are being used. And so when you're using the milligrams per DL, so for that, it's for the normal range is when your blood sugar level is between 70 to 99 milligrams. That's for the, for the fasting blood sugar level. Dr. Dolly already explained that. But the moment is, so in millimoles, that is 3.9 to 5.5 in millimoles per liter. So sometimes people find it confusing, and that's why, so that they don't get confused. And that pre-diabetes state is when you have your blood sugar level at 100 milligram per DL. That's the fasting. And so if it's the random and you're having 125 milligram per DL, you're in that state of pre-diabetes. That is when your blood sugar level is high, but it's not high enough to be called diabetes. And so in millimoles, that's 6.9 millimoles for the random, while it's 6.1 millimoles for the fasting. And then when it's diabetes, it's greater than 11.11 for the random, and greater than 7, yes. So these are things people should also pay attention to, yes, so that you don't get confused.
Okay, so thank you very much. I mean, Dr. Dolly, I know you're going to wrap us up in a minute. And you know what I'll say to you, Dr. Dolly, is thank you very much. I'm sure you're going to say a few words to wrap myself and Folashade up so that we can round up. But before that, I'd like to say thank you very much for responding to the questions. There's a lot of people that said, unfortunately, some of the network turbulence has affected the very interesting topic. That's what they say, very interesting topic. So they're still listening, but they're just having some slight challenges with the network issue. But what I'll say is I just like both of your responses to my question, and they were both, one was a medical response and one was a dietitian response, and mine was a common sense approach. But one thing I
Yes.
would say to you from listening to the two of you, yeah, what we're saying is science hasn't found out that we can reverse diabetes. Yeah, that's what I hear. Yeah. So I'm just saying from my point of view anyway. But Dr. Over to you. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Welcome back again to the studio. Now, about the diabetic values, like Folashade pointed out, there are actually two units, but basically, it is center dependent. It can vary with a few indices, but then when you go to your care giver, go with the value that they present to you. Now, like we started, benefits of cooked food. The last but not the least benefit is that it is delicious and it is cost effective. Cooking food saves you more money than eating out. Everybody knows that. And in conclusion, we now leave you with this. Nature has provided us with everything to stay healthy and protect us from diseases. In knowing is not enough. You have heard all we have to say today, but we must apply all we've had for it to translate to good health for all of us and give us the billion-dollar body that we all want. From me in the studio, I say good night and God bless.
Thank you. Good night, Dr. Dolly, and good night, Folashade.
Good night.
Thank
Yes.
you very much. Yeah.
All right.
And guys, remember, we'd like to say thank you for your $1 Billion Body Show for sharing the information on diabetes over the last 4 weeks of the Diabetes Awareness Month. And also, we'd like to also thank our sponsors, Salad Master. Salad Master is an amazing healthy cooking system made of 316 titanium. And it's there, as Dr. Dolly said, to protect our food and our nutrition so that the food can then protect us. And our dietitian also mentioned the fact that we can destarch certain foods and also preserve the nutrition in there from that point. So this is one of the reasons why Salad Masters sponsoring the program. And I'd like to say we're talking from, I mean, Dr. Dolly is in the Victoria Island office, the Salad Master Victoria Island office in Lagos. And I believe Folachade is in Lagos also in
Yes.
one of the studios. And myself, me in London, and it's a good night from me. But before we go, what we'll do is Folachade, you want to say a few words before we go?
Well, I would just keep saying that there's so much we can get from our food, and so we should do everything we can to invest in healthy eating. And so you can get to prevent so many of those lifestyle diseases, including diabetes, if you choose to invest. And the choice is yours. It's costly managing diseases. So please and please and please invest in healthy eating. Eat your food as healthy as it can, and avoid all those highly processed foods, because of their health effects.
Wow. Wow. So, and also, I like what you said, like we said when we're finishing up, you are what you eat. Yeah. And every day you eat, you either eat to fight disease or you eat to feed disease. And, one of the things I always say to a lot of people is that, what, it doesn't matter what money we have today, it matters our health. Life is not about illness, it's about wellness. And we're going to leave you with a few, with just the video I played earlier with Diabetes UK and the Salad Master partnership and what we're going to do also in Nigeria. Those of you that are interested, tomorrow we're doing some checkup health tests. We're also cooking some nice food in our office in Victoria Island. If you're interested, put a message on, come and see us. We'll give you a test. I think, what test are you doing, Shani? What test are you doing? Okay, I think she's gone on mute, but
Deb,
Sorry?
Diabetes screening, blood
Diabetes
sugar
screen,
level. Yes, the blood sugar
sugar
test.
level,
Yes,
yeah, and
yes,
some nice food too. And
yes.
Dr.
The
Dolly,
salads. We have
again,
free salads to go.
Dr. Dolly, last word to you, Dr. Dolly.
Like I always said, hearing is not the end of it. You need to apply what you've heard in order for it to be fruitful in your life. Thank you.
Thank you. And good night.
More than 12 million people in the
Okay,
UK are
good.
at increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. But it's estimated that more than half of all cases could be prevented or delayed. Salad Master has a 70-year history in cookware innovation and is working in partnership with Diabetes UK to raise awareness of type 2 diabetes. Mariana Hotter reports on Salad Master's mission to inspire people to eat better, live better and achieve the life they desire.
Lunch is being prepared at the Salad Master kitchen. On the menu, fresh veg and stovetop soda bread. It's a simple but effective demonstration of just how easy good food can be.
It started with our food processor, which is why we were called Salad Master. It was the master of salads, but then we grew that into a specialist cookware range. And, you know, our mission is to inspire people to eat better, and live the life they desire.
What's the principle, Io, behind the Salad Master system?
Well, the principle is that we cook at 86 degrees centigrade, 187 Fahrenheit, and we cook in an airtight container with a medium to low heat. And what that does, it maximizes the nutrition in the food.
So no oil, no fats, no water or stock?
No. So you don't need to, because the food has got its own natural juices, if you think about it. So what we're doing is we're using the natural juices in the food to cook the food.
Diabetes is potentially the most devastating health crisis of our time. There are more than 4 million people in the UK living with type 2 diabetes and a further 12 million people at increased risk of developing the condition. The charity Diabetes UK also estimates that more than half of all cases of type 2 diabetes could be prevented or delayed. Raising awareness is crucial.